You know that feeling when you scroll through a ton of camera listings, see the sleek bodies, the glossy sample shots, and think you've finally found the perfect kit only to end up with a system that feels clunky in the hands, struggles in low light, or just doesn't capture the moments the way you imagined. I've been there, and that hesitation is why I wanted to dig deeper before I hit buy now. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the OM System OM5 Mark I sits in the Micro Four Thirds world, which means you get a fairly compact sensor size, but still a lot of lens options thanks to the long-standing MFD mount. For anyone who's been using entry-level interchangeable lens cameras and feels they've outgrown the point-and-shoot vibe, the OM5 promises a step up without turning you into a backpack-carrying heavyweight. The bundle even throws in a lens cap keeper and a cleaning kit, so you're not left scrambling for accessories right after the box is opened. Let's talk about what matters when you actually pull this camera out for a day of shooting. The first thing I checked was how the autofocus behaves when you're chasing a moving subject, say, a kid on a bike or a dog sprinting across a park. The OM5 uses a hybrid AF system that blends phase detect pixels on the sensor with contrast detection. In real-world tests, that combo feels snappy enough that you're not constantly hunting for focus. I was able to lock onto a subject with a single press and keep it tracked even as it changed direction. It's not the same speed as top-tier full-frame models, but for hobbyists and even semi-professional creators who aren't shooting high-speed sports, it's comfortably reliable. Low-light performance is another pain point that trips up many new mirrorless buyers. The 20.4 MP sensor on a Micro Four Thirds format doesn't have the same raw light-gathering ability as larger APS-C or full-frame chips, but the OM5 makes up for some of that with a decent native ISO range and a fairly clean output up to around ISO 3200. I tried shooting a candlelit dinner, and the colors stayed true without an overwhelming amount of noise. If you often find yourself shooting indoors without a flash, expect decent results, but don't expect the same level of noise-free detail you'd get from a bigger sensor at the same ISO. Stabilization is where the OM5 really shows its practical side. The built-in 5-axis image stabilization can compensate for up to roughly 56 stops, which means you can handhold 4K video at 30 frames per second and still get a steady shot without a gimbal. I filmed a short travel vlog on a bustling city street, walking around with a kit lens, and the footage stayed remarkably smooth. For anyone who wants to capture video on the go without lugging extra gear, that is a big confidence boost. Weather sealing is often an overlooked feature until you get caught in an unexpected drizzle. The OM5's IP53 rating means it can handle light rain and splashes, so you won't need a separate rain cover for a sudden downpour. I took it out for a weekend hike, and after a brief encounter with a passing shower, the camera kept working flawlessly. If you're a nature photographer or someone who likes to shoot outdoors year-round, that seal is a practical safety net. Battery life on mirrorless cameras can be a make-or-break issue, especially if you're used to the endurance of DSLRs. The OM5 uses a standard NPW120 battery, and under mixed shooting still images, occasional video, and Wi-Fi use, I got close to 350 shots per charge. That's enough for a day's outing if you're mindful about turning off the LCD when you don't need it. However, if you plan marathon sessions or heavy video work, carrying a spare battery is still advisable. Now, who should actually consider this kit? If you're a beginner who's ready to move past the limitations of a smartphone or a compact point-and-shoot, the OM5 offers a gentle learning curve. The menus are organized around the classic OM system philosophy. You get dedicated dials for exposure, focus, and playback, which means you spend less time diving into endless submenus. The learning curve isn't steep, and the tactile controls feel intuitive once you get the hang of them. Hobbyists who enjoy experimenting with different lenses, especially those who already own Micro Four Thirds glass, will appreciate the compact system and the ability to swap lenses without dramatically changing the camera's balance. On the other side, if you're a full-time professional shooting high-end weddings, sports, or cinematic video that demands the absolute best low-light performance and the fastest AF, the OM5 might feel like a compromise. Its sensor size and autofocus speed, while solid for most scenarios, can fall short when you need the edge that a full-frame sensor or a flagship AF system provides. Also, if your workflow relies heavily on in-camera RAW processing or advanced video codecs beyond standard 4K 30 FPS, you might find the OM5's feature set a bit limited. A practical weakness.